Hello students, today we are going to know about the poet John Keats, who was a romantic poet. I am Dr. Papuri Palita, Assistant Professor in English, Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, Assam Downtown University. Now let us try to look at the life of John Keats. John Keats devoted his short life to the perfection of poetry, marked by vivid imagery, great sensuous appeal, and an attempt to express a philosophy through classical legend. In 1818, he went on a walking tour in the Lake District. His exposure and overexertion on that trip brought on the first symptoms of the tuberculosis which ended his life. So this is basically what happened to, in short, John Keats. And John Keats was a revered English poet whose short lifespan spanned just 25 years. So he lived for just 25 years. John Keats was born on October 31, 1795 in London, England. He was the oldest of Thomas and Frances Keats's 4 children. Keats lost his parents at an early age. He was 8 years old when his father, livery stable keeper, was killed after being trampled by a horse. His father's death had a profound effect on the young boy's life, that is Keats's life. In a more abstract sense, it shaped Keats's understanding for the human condition, both its suffering and its loss. The tragedy and others helped ground Keats's later poetry, one that found its beauty and grandeur from the human experience. In a more mundane sense, Keats's father's death greatly disrupted the family's financial security. His mother, Frances, seemed to have launched a series of missteps and mistakes after her husband's death. She quickly remarried and just as quickly lost a good portion of the family's wealth. After her second marriage fell apart, Frances left the family, leaving her children in the care of her mother. She eventually returned to her children's life, but her life was in tatters. In early 1810, she died of tuberculosis. During this period, Keats found solace and comfort in art and literature. At Enfield Academy, where he started shortly before his father's passing, Keats proved to be a voracious reader. He also became close to the school's headmaster, John Clark, who served as a sort of a father figure to the orphaned student and encouraged Keats's interest in literature. Back home, Keats's maternal grandmother turned over control of the family's finances, which was considerable at the time, to a London merchant named Richard Abbey. Overzealous in protecting the family's money, Abbey showed himself to be reluctant to let the Keats children spend much of it. He refused to be forthcoming about how much money the family actually had, and in some cases was downright deceitful. There is some debate as to whose decision it was to pull Keats out of Enfield, but in the fall of 1810, Keats left the school for studies to become a surgeon. He eventually studied medicine at a London hospital and became a licensed apothecary in 1816. Now, in 1811, Keats became an apprentice, as we know, to an apothecary, and in 1816 he became a licensed apothecary. And he first uh, tried his hand at writing and produced four stanza poems, short poems, imitation of Spenser. These were inspired by the poem Fairy Queen by Edmund Spenser. But Keats's career in medicine never truly took off. Even as he studied medicine, Keats's devotion to literature and the arts never ceased. Through his friend Cowden Clarke, whose father was the headmaster at Enfield, Keats met publisher Leigh Hunt of The Examiner. Hunt's radicalism and biting pen had landed him in prison in 1813 for libeling Prince Regent. Hunt, though, had an eye for talent and was an early supporter of Keats's poetry and became his first publisher. Through Hunt, Keats was introduced to a world of politics that was new to him and had greatly influenced what he put on the page. In honor of Hunt, Keats wrote the sonnet written on the day that Mr. Leigh Hunt left prison. So, Hunt has actually helped Keats a lot in pursuing his literary career. In addition to affirming Keats' standing as a poet, Hunt also introduced the young poet to a group of other English poets, including Percy Bysshe Shelley and William Wordsworth. In 1817, Keats leveraged his new friendship to publish his first volume of poetry, Poems. The volume of poetry was Poems by John Keats.